Hi, we're at Vanderbee's Power Watch Black Panther viewing and discussion. I'm here with Dr. Newton, and she is going to share her thoughts about the movie. What was your favorite part of the movie, and how did it express it to you?
I have lots of favorite parts. There was no single favorite part, but I think the real part was when I saw the children in the beginning and the children at the end, because I think what the movie symbolizes is a future, and to give our children some aspirations, and to understand that being smart is not necessarily being a nerd, and having technical skills as well as compassionate skills. And then the other part was at the end when Killmonger was able to see Wakanda, and you saw that he was not inherently bad, but that his environmental circumstance had created a negative and hostile feeling inside of him, so that he was manifesting that. So I think it gave some really interesting contrasts in terms of what environment does and what nurturing does, and the aspirations that we may see for our children and hope for the future.
Well, there were a lot of female warriors. Do you think that will encourage more women to be more power seekers with this movie?
Well, not necessarily power seekers, but to gain power for themselves and to understand their own inherent power. You know, they were a takeoff from the Benin. In Benin, when we had the warrior women in the Amazon region, they call them the Amazon warriors in Benin. And what I liked about the movie, it was really trans-African, because you saw elements of Mali, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria. You saw all of that involved into one dynamic, which was important. And what it showed was, in ancient systems of African dynamics, there was an equality between, not necessarily equality, but complementarity between males and females. And women were always considered strong. And back in the day, starting with ancient Kemet up to the present time, you know, you had females who were in power. And it was only after we had the invasions and the corruption of the African system that we began to see women lose their power. So I'm I want this to encourage African young women to begin to understand the essence of their power, the essence of their strength, the essence of their beauty and their intellect.
Do you think this will give more African Americans the inspiration to probably travel to Africa, because a lot of African Americans don't go there? Or
well, I hope they do, because I do tours to Africa. I lead tours all over Africa and have for the last 40 years. So what I'm hoping is that people don't buy into the asshole countries that they've been called, and begin to realize that Africa has an inherent beauty, it has a cultural beauty, and it's in our archetypal memory. And I'm afraid that many of our people have a fear of their own history and their own ancestry, and they need to get rid of it, because our people, there was nothing before us. There wasn't even God. So therefore, we are enlightened and encouraged that people will look at this and want to travel to Africa and want to say, this is my land, this is where I belong, because so many of us don't know where we come from. And we don't know where we're going because of that. And you know the old saying, if you don't know where you come from and you don't know where you're going, any road will do.
I've heard that some people may not take this movie very well because it may sense an essence of Black power. Do you feel that?
Some people will not take it well, because some people have no idea and no desire for people of African descent to come into their own understanding and their own power. But let's look at America. It would not have existed had it not been for the free labor of our ancestors. So putting down a people that are part of the fabric of this nation is in essence putting down this nation. And so those people who have that kind of mentality and that kind of narrow worldview are in denial about the way this country came into existence. And us asserting our power will be as it was with T'Challa. We usually, as a people of African descent, help everybody. We're not like some of our oppressors that do other people in. And so the movie was very clear in that regard, although there's a good side and a bad side to that. But at the same time, I think the fear that they have of us coming into our power is that we will do to them what they did to us. And that's not been the nature of our people.
Thank you, Dr. Newton. I really appreciate all your comments. We are here at Vanderbees viewing and panelist discussion of Black Panther.